Yo, what's up everyone? Kyrios here, and today we're going to go after the Annabella review. Now, a lot of this footage is from the beta server, so there's only so much I can show you, but we can show you the functional testing. I can show you kind of the damage that we did with some from 0 star all the way to 6 star, and then we could talk about some if she's worth pulling, if she's not worth pulling, and show you some actual damage gameplay, like using her with Ruby, using her in gas comp, using her versus fire comp. There's a lot to break down here, so if you guys can, hit that like and subscribe. Check the chapters down below. This will be pretty long-winded, as you know, and let's get started. All right, guys, before we get started into the actual deep dive portion of this, I just want to talk about theoreticals of the fire comp, and I want to talk about some of the star advancements. Now, just talking about the fire comp is a little heavy on the amount of characters you need. Now, right now I'm over on my CN account. I actually used to be a fire main on my CN account before pulling Fenrir, but I did have Annabella and I did have Ruby. Now, they were low star. I was free to play, but they worked out amazing. I'll tell you this right now, Annabella at 0 star is going to do you a decent amount of justice that you don't have to think about pulling a lot of stars. And this was the team I ran, and 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿 is not really the ideal a weapon that you want to have there. This is the biggest tip I'm going to give you right now. Big tip. If you are thinking about continuing down your fire journey, you're going to have to pull Lan. So you're going to have to run Ruby, Lan, Annabella. You could run 𝙀𝙀𝙔, Lan, Annabella. Wouldn't be the most optimal since 𝙀𝙀𝙔 doesn't bring a whole lot to the table for fire, but it is definitely possible. Another thing that kind of hurts is that you really need matrices for the fire comp. You really need Annabellas, you really need Rubies kind of stacked together. So just as a heads up, this is where you're heading down. Now quickly talking about the stars. Now, these are the stars scoped for the CN account. Please realize the numbers are a little bit lower. I just couldn't show you any official numbers until it goes live, so just plug and play those, but everything else is the same. 1 star hitting 2 scope shots creates an optical space. As you know, as I will show you, when you do a dodge attack, as soon as you do a dodge attack, it automatically does a scope shot. You will not be scoping in with this character. You will not be auto attacking with this character. The only attacks you will be doing with Annabella are dodge attacks, which gives you free scope shots. So just keep that in mind as well. Very unique gameplay. It'll trigger a detonation, blah 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 blah, reducing their attack speed. So this is really good for AoE, and this is really good for, like, if you're trying to progress up bygones. Now, the real bread and the butter of Annabella, if you're just not going to stop at A0, is A3. Currently, the fire team has no healing. They have absolutely no healing. You run 𝙀𝙀𝙔, Ruby, Annabella, there's no healing there. You run Lan, Ruby, Annabella, there's no healing there. So the only healing that you potentially get is from Annabella with landing those scope shots on a critical hit and getting 50% of the damage back. This is actually really good at very high crit, but remember that crit resistance on mobs is getting stronger and stronger, and our crit value is going down. So this is why you need those matrices that do grant you crit on top of it. So it starts getting a little dicey for fire, in my opinion. And then you have Violet, increases scorching damage. This is really good, especially for the burn comp. It's really good for gas comp as well, but only if you're running like mono Annabella without using Ruby for detonation and a few other things. And then you have increased scope shot damage, which is great because you're going to get auto scope shots anyways. So let's go ahead and go into the deep dive, and I'll see you on the flip side. All right, guys, we gotta get some baselines underway. Now, we are going to run this with no gear across the gambit. We are going to test 0 star, 1 star, 3 star, 5 star, and 6 star to see the damage. Just realize that as you increase stars, the damage will naturally increase. What we're looking for is big leaps in damage to see if any of those traits actually make a really big difference. Now, we're going to go through the auto attacking rotation first. Now, the rotation we're going to test a little bit different because you really don't auto attack with Annabella. The only thing you do is you do dodge skills with attacking, the dodge skill attacking. There's really no other way to use her. You don't even really use her discharge. You would honestly use Ruby's or someone else's. Now, so the way we're going to test this is we're first going to start with the left click auto. Okay, so checking out this left click auto, you can see here that the damage is pretty lackluster. Once again, you do not left click auto, but we just wanted a baseline for our spreadsheet. Looks pretty decent across the board. Next up on the list, we are going to do 8 fire attacks. So what we're going to do is we're going to prime the target. We're going to set up our skill, get it onto the fire icon above her head, and then we're going to do a rotation of 8 fire attacks. Next up, we have 8 gas attacks. Now this one is kind of just the raw, like you're going to just do a lot more. It's going to look like main DPS damage, and we're going to do the same rotation. 8 right there. Looks pretty good. You can see the higher numbers, or at least it looks like higher numbers. And this is probably what you would run if you were just running Annabella with not doing any other fire per se. And then finally, we're going to do Ruby's auto attack for 3 rotations. And this is just to give us reference, to give us an idea of what it looks like. So we're going to do 3 rotations with her. It's going to look about 12 seconds, and we'll be off to the races. All right, perfect. We're over here on our, this should be Annabella. We're fixing this on the fly. We are over here on our rotation of our spreadsheet. You know me, spreadsheets. And once again, this is practical testing, not theoretical testing. But this gives us an idea. You can see that auto attack is somewhere around 46,000. This gives us our baseline. And then we have the 8 fire attacks, which gives us around 116,000 damage in that sequence. And then we have 8 gas attack at about 149,000. Now you can see a big leap between these now, but these are very functionally different. Remember, fire does require doing detonations, and the only way you're really going to do detonations is by pairing it with Ruby, and you'll see those in our tests down below once we do a rotation with Ruby. So it'll be a little bit different than what you see. But if you're just running Annabella and not doing any other character or swapping or anything like that, the gas looks pretty good. And then we have a reference of Ruby 3 rotations. Now this is a pretty interesting results that Ruby still sits in between fire and gas. So it still makes it so she's a pretty good auto attacker. But obviously Annabella is going to start doing more damage than her, especially as your main target DPS. Let's move on over to the star test. All right, for the star test, we're going to try and keep these in line. We're going to use, we're going to have Ruby's weapon and Lindy's weapon just on them, and we're going to follow the stars. So every single weapon is going to go from 0, 1, 3, 5, 6. So remember, damage will increase again. I'll see you guys on the flip side. We'll do a quick montage of that damage, and then we'll break down the results. All right, guys, welcome back to the handy dandy fancy spreadsheet. Now I'm going to try to keep this zoomed in as much as I can, but there's a lot of damage all the way at the end. Maybe I can zoom this out just a little bit more. Sorry for those of you watching at home. So just realize that the top portion, these stars right here, are going to be our gas. The bottom portion is going to be our fire. So we did test both, and so pretty interesting results. You can see that the attack damage on gas is a lot higher. We get that we go from 131. We did lose damage at 1 star, but that could be a fluke because we did lose damage at 1 star on the fire test as well. So that could be just a slight fluke in just the fluctuation of damage, or maybe one of the weapons wasn't per se 1 star or quite leveled up to 140. But we do see consistent damage increases across the board, especially with big leaps start happening at 5 star and 6 star. And that happens also at fire, not with the biggest number increase, but pretty good. Now for gas, you have no skill hit, you have no passive, you do have ultimate, but once again, Annabella's ultimate is pretty sauce, pretty doo-doo sauce. So you are not going to be really using her ultimate. You would use someone else's, and her dodge attack is nothing really to write home about. It's just the way that they classify some of her damage on top of that. Now on fire, you do have skill hit because it is a lot more burning damage. So you'll see that fire tries to compensate that raw damage from gas. And then you do get a little bit more dodge attack on fire just to the way that they classify that. Now, the thing that we're going to look forward to is that we did total the damage at the side. And no matter what, across the board, gas does more damage than fire. But it doesn't technically do more damage than fire. All right, having tons of issues with this test again, but let's try this again. Ready? Here we go. We're going to start a little bit further back. Right? 1, 2, get into that ruby skill, which is going right into an ultimate apparently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go right into Ruby's ability, get a couple attacks, go in there again, get a discharge, hit that again. 1, 2, 3. That went the wrong direction. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, so that worked a little bit better of a rotation. Obviously, you're going to have to plug in Lin Yi there a little bit better. But we can look at the damage here. We got about 1.8 final, which is pretty good. 57% came from our Annabella. Some good damage across the board. Really like the skill, and we're doing burn build right now. So this is all pretty accurate to our numbers. Ruby did a decent amount of discharge. We discharged twice. Twice or 3 times. Obviously, Lin Yi did a decent amount of damage, but we're going to kind of discount that. So 1.8 total across the board. Let's go ahead and try gas this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just preload gas, and then let that ability come back up. So that means I can hit 1-1 real quick because it remembers the last one that you were on. So that's a quick little tip for anyone using Annabella out there. We're going to go ahead and drain her ult by ulting real quick like that. Let's go ahead and get on over and let's start it up. Let's see. Skill right into the Ruby. Hit the ability and go right into gas build. 1, 2, 3. We lost her thing. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna hit Ruby's ability here. Bam, bam, bam. Get right to there. Hit a skill again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not too bad. We're gonna let that drain out real quick. So obviously we had a bad bounce on the Ruby bounce, but it seemed to be okay. Now what's really interesting here is that our final damage is about 200,000 less than our others. That could have been a slightly bad rotation, but it's a pretty big leap right there. Damage is pretty typical across the board, 749. Spark damage was a little bit higher for some reason, but that may have just been due to luck of the bounce or lucky crits and stuff like that. So we're going to discount that, and we'll discount the Lin Yi damage because that's the same across the board there. So what's really interesting is that we saw that burn build, especially at high star with a high ruby star, which by the way, this is a 6-star ruby, seems to be a lot better. But gas seems to be a lot better for any times that you're not using per se ruby optimally, or maybe you have a low star ruby and a low star Annabella. Your gas build is probably going to go a lot longer and a lot farther. But a pretty interesting test. Let me know what you guys thought. All right, I want to give my closing review here. If you were a fireman, you got to pull Annabella. Annabella will definitely help you out. Now, from the testing we've seen, Ruby still does pretty good. She is going to get outclassed by Annabella in certain aspects, but if you've highly invested into Ruby, you could continue your journey down with Ruby and think about pulling maybe land later, and hopefully there's a synergy there, but land really works with Annabella. Where do I think she needs to be pulled? I think it's either A0 for free to play, perfectly capable. A1 is nice, but you don't need it. It's nice to have, but only if you can maybe luck into it. Honestly, where you really need to have her is A3 because you need that healing. She's just in a fire's in a very awkward spot with not having any sustainability. And their rotation is very complicated where you have to do a lot of things. Also, as my final little thing before I give my rating if you should pull or not, is if you play on mobile, it's going to get harder and harder to play some of these characters. Annabella is absolutely hard to play on mobile with dodge, attack, shift, dodge, attack, get the skill out here, do that, do this. I don't know how you do it without a PC, in all honesty. So is she worth a pull for fire? Yes, you got to pull her for fire if you're looking to do unga bunga damage. I think you don't need to pull harder than A0 or A3 if you're a medium spender. If you're a whale, you're going to pull A6. I know you're going to do it. That's all I got. Hopefully this helped you out. And let me know in the comments down below if you have any more questions. I'll try and answer them. And I'll see you guys on the live streams, and I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy, and fist bump from me to you.